Imagine a sudden wall of water tearing through the tranquility of your neighborhood, turning homes into islands and roads into rivers. This is no Hollywood blockbuster, but the grim reality for thousands in Kenya. In recent weeks, Kenya has been grappling with an onslaught of flash floods triggered by heavy rains that began in mid-March and have only intensified since. The floods have swept through half the country, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Over 32 lives have been lost and more than 100,000 people have been displaced, their lives thrown into disarray. The situation in Nairobi, Kenya's bustling capital, is particularly dire. Entire neighborhoods are submerged, roads have been closed, and residents are trapped on rooftops, their homes transformed into makeshift islands. The Kenya Urban Roads Authority has had to partially close roads due to flooding, and Kenya Railways has suspended commuter train services nationwide. In the midst of this mayhem, the Kenyan Red Cross has emerged as a beacon of hope, launching rescue operations to save those stranded by the floods. Their tireless efforts have undoubtedly saved countless lives, but the magnitude of the disaster is such that even their heroic endeavors are stretched thin. The floods have not discriminated, affecting rural and urban areas alike. From the fertile lands of the Rift Valley to the coastal city of Mombasa, no region has been spared. The devastation is not just physical but also psychological, as people grapple with the loss of loved ones, homes, and livelihoods. As the rains continue to pour, the Kenya Meteorological Department has issued warnings of continued heavy rainfall in various parts of the country. The people of Kenya are bracing themselves, trying to cope with the reality of their situation while also preparing for the possibility of more floods. The fury of nature is a force to reckon with, and for Kenya it came in the form of torrential rains and devastating floods. Life, as many Kenyans knew it, has changed dramatically and irreversibly in the wake of these floods. The torrential downpours have washed away more than just homes and roads. They've swept away the very foundations of many lives. Consider the stories of individuals like Fatuma Hassan Gumo and Mwana Juma Hassan. Once upon a time, they were villagers going about their regular lives. Now they find themselves displaced, their homes devoured by the relentless waters, their livelihoods submerged beneath the mud and debris. They, like thousands of others, face a new reality in makeshift camps, their existence dictated by the whims of the weather. The floods haven't just invaded homes, they've infiltrated every aspect of life. The Kenya Urban Roads Authority had to partially close roads due to the flooding. Imagine waking up one day to find your usual route to work or school swallowed by a river that wasn't there the night before. Similarly, Kenya Railways had to suspend commuter train services nationwide. That's right, the entire country's train services paused. Picture the mother who relies on the train to get to her job, the student who takes the train to university, the vendor who depends on it to transport goods to the market. Their lives, their routines, their livelihoods, all disrupted. The floodwaters have not just filled the streets and homes, they have seeped into the everyday lives of Kenyans, turning the ordinary into the extraordinary, the routine into the unthinkable. For those directly affected, these floods have rewritten the chapters of their lives, turning everyday routines into unimaginable challenges. In the face of such adversity, the resilience and spirit of the Kenyan people continue to shine through. But one thing is for sure, life in the wake of these floods will never be the same again. What's causing these extreme weather patterns? Experts point to a phenomenon happening thousands of miles away. Indeed, the culprit behind the devastating floods in Kenya is none other than the notorious El Niño. El Niño, Spanish for the little boy, is a weather phenomenon that originates in the Pacific Ocean. But don't let the innocent name fool you. This little boy has some serious global implications. When El Niño rears its head, it alters the normal patterns of wind and precipitation around the world, leading to extreme weather events like what we are witnessing in Kenya. What's happening in Kenya is not an isolated incident. It's part of a broader pattern of climatic upheaval that's impacting the entire East African region. Countries like Ethiopia and Somalia are also feeling the wrath of El Niño, with heavy rains, floods, and the subsequent destruction of homes and livelihoods. These areas are particularly vulnerable to climate change. Their geographical location, combined with socio-economic factors, makes them prime targets for the impacts of our ever-changing climate. The people of East Africa, many of whom rely on the land for their survival, are bearing the brunt of these changes. But here's the kicker. Climate change isn't just about warming temperatures, it's about unpredictability. It's about finding yourself in a drought one year and then knee-deep in floodwaters the next. It's about not knowing what Mother Nature has in store for you and the profound uncertainty that brings. As we grapple with these unsettling truths, we're forced to confront the reality of our world today. As the world's weather patterns become increasingly unpredictable, the people of East Africa find themselves on the front lines of climate change. As the rains continue to pour, what does the future hold for Kenya? This question, currently hanging in the minds of many, is as heavy as the rain clouds that have been relentlessly unleashing their torrents upon the nation. The Kenya Meteorological Department, in an effort to keep the public informed and prepared, has issued warnings of continued heavy rainfall in various parts of the country. This forecast, although grim, is a crucial tool in managing the situation. It's akin to navigating an ocean storm. Knowing that the waves will keep coming gives you a chance to brace for impact, to adjust your sails, and to plot your course through the tempest. But the rains are not just an immediate threat, they are a stark reminder of the larger, looming challenge of climate change. The recent floods linked to the El Niño weather phenomenon have underscored the vulnerability of East Africa to these extreme weather events. It's a harsh wake-up call, one that highlights the need for long-term solutions and adaptive measures. Aid agencies have been vocal in emphasizing the urgent need for investment in climate adaptation measures. Like a clarion call, their message reverberates through the storm: adapt or face even greater devastation. And adaptation goes beyond just building higher walls or deeper canals. It's about creating resilient communities, implementing sustainable agricultural practices, and developing effective early warning systems. It's about transforming the way we live and interact with our environment. But there's a silver lining in this storm cloud. The call for action is being heard, initiatives are being launched, policies are being drafted, and conversations are being started. There's a sense of urgency, a recognition of the need to act, and most importantly, a glimmer of hope. The floodwaters will recede, the land will dry, and the people will rebuild. And with each step they take, they'll be moving towards a more resilient future. The road ahead is uncertain and challenging, but there is a call for action and hope for a resilient future. Awareness can be the first step towards change, and that change starts with you. You see, in this digital age, each one of us holds a measure of power, the power to inform, to enlighten, to stir emotions, and to mobilize action. When we share a story, we share a bit of ourselves, and we invite others to join us in understanding, compassion, and action. Now we've all witnessed the devastating effects of the recent flash floods in Kenya. The images are heart-wrenching, the stories gut-punching. Yet despite the somber tone of today's tale, we can't afford to lose sight of the silver lining, the power of human resilience. Nairobi, a city once bustling with life, now looks like a vast, unending lake. Roads have turned into rivers, neighborhoods into islands, yet amidst the loss and devastation, the spirit of the Kenyan people remains unbroken. The resilience they've shown is nothing short of heroic, but they shouldn't have to face this alone. This isn't just a Kenyan problem, it's a global one. Climate change affects us all, and it's time we stood together. So, what can we do? Well, it starts with a click. Share this video, let the world know what's happening in Kenya, discuss it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Spark conversations, ignite debates, and let the ripple effect of awareness spread far and wide. Then let's take it a step further. Reach out to organizations that are helping on the ground. Consider donating, not just money, but time and resources. Every little bit helps. And finally, let's push for change. Climate change is real, it's happening, and it's affecting us all. We need to act, and we need to act now. Let's lobby for better environmental policies, more sustainable practices, and greater investment in climate adaptation measures. Don't just watch, act. Share this video, spread the word, and let's stand together for Kenya. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications for more updates. Together, we can make a difference.